Hello folks, and welcome to the Vertigo Tea Party and a Let's Try Book of Demons. It is developed by Thing Trunk. You can pick it up on Steam for $19.99 for Windows. It is currently in early access. There is also a demo that you can try on the Steam page. It supports Steam achievements, has full controller support, Steam trading cards, and cloud saves. I will be playing a free press copy that was provided to me in order to make this video. I'll have links to the game on Steam and any other valid links and information the information below the video. So before we get started here, this company, Thing Trunk, is doing something interesting. They plan a series of games called Return to Games, and each one is a homage to an older game from the 90s. This game, as you will soon see, is very strongly influenced by Diablo 1, but has some very interesting twists, as we will see here shortly. Now, you see, I do have one character, a level 15 warrior. There's also going to be a rogue and a mage unlocking later on. Don't think they have a time frame for that yet. Actually, they might. Check the Steam page. I think the rogue is coming soon. The mage, I'm not sure of. I might have that reversed. Regardless, you can see how much progress I've made so far. And we're going to go ahead and enter town. And here is our town section. Now, I really like the graphical layout, the graphical setup for this game. It's all kind of the paper-made look, and I really like it so far. Now, typically, I would just jump straight into the gameplay. However, there's something we need to do before we leave town. I want to talk to the barmaid. Now, each character, as you might guess, has different qualities, different things they can do to help you out. You can also talk to them about various things. Some things are still locked, and there is voice acting.
Is that really you? I'm so happy to see you after all this time.
And we won't go through that entire thing. But I do like that it's voice acted, and it's done fairly well. It's a little campy, but I think that's intentional. It's supposed to be. It doesn't take itself too seriously, that's for sure. So one thing I want to do before we go anywhere is use the magical cauldron. Now, this game is very much like Diablo. You dive into these dungeons that are randomly generated, you kill these creatures, you find items, you level up, all that good stuff. One interesting aspect of this game is that you find like random items that drop their ingredients, and they are stored back here in the cauldron. And the more of those you store up, the better, like a potion buff type thing that she can make for you. However, if you die, you lose all the ones in here. So you have to make the decision, do I want to risk it and make a better buff potion? Or do I want to go ahead and head back to town and use the ones that I've got? Now, just to show you how it works, I'm going to use it now. Another interesting aspect is that whenever you level up, you can choose to put a point into life or a point into mana. The point that you did not use goes into the cauldron. So for example, if I level up and I choose to upgrade my life, the mana point goes into the cauldron. Now, how that affects the end product, I'm not sure, but I do think that's a very interesting mechanic. So let's go ahead and do this. Do you wish to collect the cauldron prizes now or wait longer and risk losing the bonus? Each time you collect prizes, the price of the cauldron increases. When the hero dies, unbought prizes are lost. That's what I was talking about before, about the ingredients dropping. Now, the health and mana upgrades, those stay there, but the ingredients, those stay. Let's go ahead and we can say don't show that again. Go ahead and collect prizes. Collect all, I guess. All right, so we get an XP buff. Receiving double XP, we got a sun rune, and we got bonuses to our max health and max mana, which is great. Let's go ahead and start fighting through the dungeon. We'll circle back around and talk to some of the villagers a little bit later. Again, I like to jump into the actual gameplay as soon as I can. Now, this is one of my favorite aspects of this game. It seems a small thing, but I think it's excellent for people who sometimes need to just jump into a game, or they want to play a game, but they don't have much time. Whenever you're starting most areas, you have an option of how long or how big the area is going to be. It's called the flexoscope. And as you progress, your options increase. So when you first start off, I think you only have very small, and then you go further and further, you unlock small, medium, big, and then just now you saw a very big unlock. So very small, estimates around 10 minutes. It tells you, how many rewards you're going to get, how much you're going to progress into that level, which we'll talk a little bit about, roughly how much gold you'll get. And as you might imagine, the bigger the dungeon is, the more time it's probably going to take you, but you also get more rewards and you make better progress. Now, just for purposes of this video, let's go with small. Let's just go with small for the time being. And it's going to be kind of hard to describe how this works, but if you play Diablo, it'll make more sense. Back in Diablo, you had multiple levels, but each level would belong to a certain theme. So for example, the first 10 levels, let's say, would be like the crypts. The next 10 levels would be catacombs. The next 10 levels would be hell. Things like that. So this game works in the same way. There's 3 layers. Let's call them layers. So I just finished the first layers, which were the catacombs, I think. No, I'm currently in the catacombs. I think the maze was the first one. So we're in the catacombs, and we have 3 levels in the catacombs that we're going to clear. But that doesn't mean that's all the catacombs. That's just this portion or this session of the catacombs, if that makes sense. It also gives us, a little brief view of what's coming our way. It looks like there's some new enemies in there, but we got some goat men and some ghosts that we've seen before. So let's go ahead and get started. It also generates very, very quickly. I like that. There's very little wait time. So this game, you move with your mouse. You can also use, let me kill this guy real quick so I can actually explain what's going on before I died from that guy. So you point and click to move your character. You can also use the cursor keys, like WASD. However, sometimes I will actually mix it up between the two. Sometimes I'll use the mouse. If I'm in a busy fight, I'll use the keyboard so that I can focus my clicking on attacking. Now you'll also notice I can't move beyond this path. That's going to be one of the big tricky, I would even go so far as to consider it possibly a negative on the game, is you're very, very limited in where you can move, as you'll see a bit later. But like with Diablo and other types of games like this, we can destroy vases, and like other games like this, a lot of vases have some interesting things in there. What do we have here? We got some goat men. So you'll notice, even though I'm a warrior, I'm not really having to get that close to the enemy in order to do damage. As long your range is actually fairly large in this game. Let's get rid of this ghost. They're going to be a problem. And again, more of the detailed stuff I'll explain as we go here, but I just want to kind of get to moving and killing stuff so we can finish the level and you guys again can get an idea how it works. But your attack range is basically this circle within here. If when you hover over the mouse, it tells you what it is, you can get it. So we'll watch this guy get closer and closer. We can't attack him yet. And now we can because it popped up. Now, I'm not clicking on anything. You do have an... let's move back. Sometimes ghosts will spawn out of the corpses of enemies. Let's go ahead and finish them. Oh, jeez. And sometimes they will just spawn. Oh. Now, sometimes enemies will also cast. You saw there, he had the little circle pop up over his head. That means that the enemy is casting. If you click and hold on that circle, you can interrupt their cast. And a lot of times they'll be stunned. Generally speaking, you want to interrupt their cast because they can do some nasty stuff, like a really nasty attack, summon a bunch of helpers, things like that. So if possible, you definitely want to try to interrupt them. Oh, looks like there was a goat man hiding inside that jar. Always makes me wonder how that works. Oh, there's a guy. Let's go ahead and click on that. We interrupted him and killed the ghost. Picked up a card. That's an unidentified card. So in this game, all your items, all your spells are cards. Let's get rid of this guy. Oh, nope. Interrupt that cast. Thank you. All of your items are cards. Let's see if there's anything good in here. Good. And for whatever reason, you can also find one piece of gold stuck in poop. That's why you hear him go, ew. We clicked on the bookcase and we got a sun rune. Sun runes are used for upgrading, which I will cover that later. So let's take a second real quick and look at our hand. Now, when you first start off, you've only got like 1 or 2 slots. You pay gold and you can upgrade these, and you can see I've actually got a lot more that I can upgrade. If we look at our inventory, we've got more cards and we can swap those cards out at will. You might not be able to change them in combat, but other than that, you can change these cards out whenever you want. Now, one important thing to notice here is we have 3 major types of cards. We have spell cards, we have item cards like health potion, mana potion, remedy, town portal, things like that. And then we have item cards. Now, item cards are interesting in that they have abilities. So for example, bloody armor, chances to spawn hearts when being hit. So sometimes you'll see me get hit and a heart will like drop right next to me. If I pick that heart back up, I'll heal back that health, which is actually a very, very nice ability. But you also see that it costs 5 mana. Over here we have our mana. We have 31. It says 7 of 31, and then it says 24 with a little lock next to it. That means that 24 of my mana is locked up by items. So, for example, this armor takes 5, this axe takes 7, and this shadow sword costs 12. And the reason this shadow sword costs so much, by the way, is because I've upgraded it, which again, I will cover that later. So, you kind of have to make a decision. Do you want to spend a lot of points in mana and have a ton of abilities and armor available to you? Or do you want to spend not as much and then make a decision, okay, I want to mostly cast spells and not rely on items? Or do you want to not rely on items, go the other way, in other words? Do you want to instead be able to cast more often, but not have your items? So let's kill these guys first, because this is getting pretty messy. I'm gonna get back a little bit. So this guy here, notice when I'm clicking him, it's just saying block, block, block. So we have to click on his shield. Oops. Let me get out of the way. Come on. You'll see the hearts dropping off of me there. I'm trying to get this guy to come down, but I don't think he will. So we broke his shield finally. So now we can kill him. Now here's where you can see having a limited area can kind of bite. When you get poisoned, when this happens, you can actually click on the health and he eats the poison to get rid of it. Now, otherwise, I don't know if it will ever go away. It might not. Let's go ahead and hit this guy. Oop. Nope. Nah, we're gonna have to get up closer. We're gonna have to deal with the fire. All right. Broke the shield and kill him. So there is some accuracy that you're going to need to be using when you're doing the fighting, because there are enemies that you need to destroy those shields, obviously. Get this guy. Don't like anybody shooting ranged items at me. Somebody summoned. Oh. I don't know what he was doing, but he killed himself pretty much. Now these goatmens, basically all the enemies have some kind of attribute to them, something that makes them unique. The goatmen have random hit points, which is interesting. It doesn't really cause a problem, but it's weird and it's interesting. Now, whenever you see a card like this, or a scroll rather, it has got a heart or a diamond on it. Dang it, I'm trying to explain things. If it's got a diamond on it, that means it gives you max mana. That's permanent. That's not a temporary thing. That permanently increases your maximum mana. And obviously a health one gives you maximum health. So here we have a boss. We can see that this boss has, I guess, 2 stages. Let's kill this guy first. And you can see this guy's hit points generate when he comes up. Frozen is like the worst ability attribute. Oh boy. Let's interrupt him. Oh, get out. We are just getting frozen nonstop. Oh. Now you see this ring around him? A lot of times these rings, they're a little strange. To push the boss into the next phase, you need to be within that ring. So I need to get close to him again. Now I can attack him. I'm gonna ignore the, oh, looks like I got stunned. Gotta click on the stars, which is admittedly quite strange. All right, so he's moving on to the next phase. What is freezing me? Oh, it's this jerk. All right, I'm gonna get rid of him. Let's destroy this so I can get over there because he is pissing me off. Being frozen is definitely the worst thing in this game because it leaves you open to a lot of other things. Stun is pretty bad as well. What are you being frozen by? All right, let's go ahead and I'll use my healing potion here. I'm gonna kill this guy now because he's driving me nuts. Oh, let's go up here. And again, you can see where having such a limited movement range is kind of a bummer because you can't really dodge a lot of these attacks. You're just going to get hit. And you have to move yourself around more often because you're so limited in where you can move. Come on. Alright, he's finally done. And we leveled up. When we level up, it gives us max health and max mana, as you might expect. Get rid of this guy first. Everybody, any ice enemy has to die first. That's my rule. Another max mana, nice. Oh, oh. I don't quite know what happened there. He got a little stuck. Come on, move. There we go. I guess that guy sometimes throws ice. I don't know. Oh, the ghost. I hate the ghosts. All right, so let's look at our items. Let's look at our items real fast so you can understand. Because like I notice sometimes when I'm hitting, there's fire popping up. That's from my items. So far in this game, I found items are a much better use of mana. I think that's probably something that needs some balance work. Because the thing is, mana doesn't regenerate over time. Unless you have like maybe armor that does it. Oh, that's weird. I don't know if that's a bug or if I'm just clicking wrong or what. But yeah, generally your mana does not regenerate on its own. So if you cast spells and you don't have a way to get mana back, you're kind of boned. Now, obviously, you can also have a mana potion card slotted, but yeah, it's one more thing to worry about. The items, on the other hand, they just work. You don't have to worry about refilling your mana, things like that. Let's see what's in this chest. Nice. Oh, and that spawned a bunch of these guys. Going to click on him. Click on the ranged ice guy. Now, these guys in particular, I really like using the cursor keys to move. It's just easier to kind of keep my mouse over here so I don't have to keep clicking back and then, you know, clicking down here, then clicking on the enemy, things like that. So that's why I use the cursor key a lot. And generally, you don't have to click to pick up items like gold. You just move the mouse cursor over it and it auto picks it up. However, items like scrolls, you do have to click on. I don't know if that one corner is really vexing me today. But anyway, let's take a look at our items. We have a shadow sword, grants an extra attack against an additional opponent at range. So I think that's when I click, not when the auto attack, because there is an auto attack. So if you don't do anything at all, your character will attack. However, you don't want to rely on that, but it is an extra attack that you want to, utilize if you can. Then we have, but the extra attack is really, really useful because you can see here the enemy below him is also taking damage. It makes it far, far easier to kill enemies. Oh, see, I did not interrupt that. So now we've got a lot more enemies to deal with. All right, what we're gonna do, since we've got a lot of mana, we're gonna run in here and use our Blade Storm ability. Blade Storm ability, there we go. Keep trying to move out of the way, there we go. Kill these guys. Oh, can we stop him? Probably not. All right, this guy needs to die. Break his shield. And finish him off. Grab the gold, of course. Anytime you see a little bag, that's for the magical cauldron. Level clear. What other nice, and I meant to show you this before, I didn't notice it was almost over, is once you've almost got the level cleared out completely, you'll see a number pop up over here in a circle, like 5, 4, 3, etc. That tells you how many things are left before the dungeon is considered clear. This can be enemies you haven't killed, this can be pots you haven't broken, this can be gold that you haven't picked up. And when you hover over it, it will tell you exactly what you're missing. It'll say like 60 gold and 1 vase. So if you're big into clearing the level, you can go back and do that. I don't really know if you get anything extra for clearing every level. I don't know if you get extra experience or anything, but I just like to do it because, well, I like to be clear. It does give you a warning whenever you try to go into a dungeon without full health, because we can actually go back to town, I think, if we wanted to. Yeah, we could go back to town if we want to save the health potion. We can, this guy puts out health and mana potions for us, so we just hover over them, pick them up, we're back to full, and we can go in. Again, I don't think there's any negative for going back to town. In my opinion, I would like to actually see it where the game rewards you for not going back to town. So the bigger section you can finish without ever going back to town to replenish yourself, the bigger reward you get, whether it's gold, items, experience, whatever. I would kind of like to see that. Anyway, beware, spiders can ambush you and chase you on the ceiling. Most spiders spawn smaller spiders when slain, just like real life. Killed the goat man. But again, the items. Let's look at the other items. We have the Shadow Sword, which again gives us another attack, which is very, very nice. The Bloody Armor, we've talked about that in a nutshell. Whenever I get hit, is a 40% chance of spawning hearts around me. In fact, we're gonna let this guy hit us a few times. Oh, no, the auto attack killed him. You weren't quite fast enough, goat man. I gave you plenty of chance. Now, you don't want to be close to these jars if at all possible. All right, see. Yeah, see, as he's hitting me, let's pick these up. So he hit me and dropped two hearts. So that's actually very, very useful, and you can upgrade that. Oh, it's spiders. Kill those spiders as well. So the last item is the Burning Axe. Enchants your attacks with fire elements. Shatters frozen hearts. You've seen that. The enemies with the frozen hearts mean they do freeze damage. They also tend to explode in like an ice nova, which will slow you down and freeze you, as we've seen a whole bunch so far. Oh, nope, come on. Ooh, almost. Those guys will charge you and stun you, which is bad. Oh, ouch. We're frozen and poisoned. We click our health bar to get rid of the poison, which is an interesting mechanic. Like, it really keeps you like clicking around instead of just waiting for the poison. I mean, I guess you could wait for the poison to go off, but it can do a decent amount of damage if you don't get rid of it. So I like to get rid of it as soon as possible. But again, it's an interesting way to keep you paying attention, keeps you clicking, keeps you active instead of, again, just, passively waiting for it to drop. That's not gonna work. Get out of that fire. Now, these fires, as you probably imagined, are being created by my Burning Axe. It has a chance to spawn those fires, which is incredibly helpful. Like, there's a lot of enemies in this game that spawn smaller enemies when you kill them. Lucas the Deceiver. It spawns smaller enemies when you kill them. And that can almost completely neutralize that ability, because the smaller enemies tend to only have like 1 or 2 life. So being able to kill them quickly is a godsend. Let's get rid of this guy. Now the green guys are poisonous. That means when they die, they explode in poison, as you probably imagine. Wow, that was a good shot. Die, poison priest. Now I was going to use my Mighty Blow. The Mighty Blow, it does damage and has a chance to stun. That's down there. And as you might imagine, to use that, I just have to press 1 on the keyboard. And again, you can move that stuff around. Oops, I should probably not have walked into the poison. Maybe not a great idea. Go ahead and click off the poison. Where are you at? All right, you're getting on my nerves. So it looks like he just changes what element he throws randomly, as far as I can tell. Where'd that boss go? Almost positive we didn't kill it. Let's pick up the poop. Nice, another max mana. Now we can just leave now, I think. Yeah, we could leave now if we wanted to, but that's not how we roll. We can also look here at the top, and it shows us the points of interest. I guess we did kill that boss. But there's 2 other things we missed, so being completionists, we're definitely gonna go back and do that. You can also press the Alt key, and that will show you any items on the map. It won't show you vases, but break a few here, trying to get some gold. Ah, dang it. I accidentally mouse over it. Nope. No charging for you today. And you do not have to keep clicking. For those of you who hate clicking over and over and over again, you do not have to just spam click. If I just hold the button down, you will attack as fast as you can. Now, I just, out of old school habit, tend to just keep clicking, and I feel like if I click a little bit faster, maybe I will attack a little faster. Again, it doesn't really work that way, but it's nice to think that it does. Nope, nope. Interrupt that, so break the shield. Now break his face. Pick up the shields, or pick up the hearts. Now, you probably noticed that these fires that I'm creating with my weapon damage me as well. Here's another upgrade card. And again, you can see how this fire is incredibly useful for enemies like this, because it spawns the little spiders inside the fire, and they basically don't even get to me. Oh, nope, come on. Nice. You probably don't want to be too close to the bosses when you destroy them because they can do damage. In Diablo style. Oh, there's another unidentified card. As you might imagine, we had to talk to a guy in town to identify these cards. Still got a little bit to go, it looks like, because the number has not popped up yet. Killed the goat man hiding in the vase. Goat men are famous for that. Oop, almost got me. Nope. I'm trying not to use my healing potions. Now, as far as healing potions go, they do not automatically replenish themselves. You can either find more of them in the dungeon from drops, from killing enemies, chests, vases, what have you, or you can actually pay the one person in town, and she will replenish your various cards like that. It still's not giving us the number. Oh, nope, almost, nope. I like when I interrupt it and then the auto attack kills. So now you can see we have 5 things left on the level. Sarcophagus, chest, 170 gold. Oh, and I use Alt. I can see where it is, but I need to get a little bit closer. That's really handy because stuff like that happens where they're behind an item and you can't really see them. So now we have a sarcophagus, chest, sarcophagus, and a barrel. Or in this case, vase. Oh, I completely missed that chest. Good job. Nope, sarcophagus I missed. A vase, and what are we missing now? Another sarcophagus. All right, let's head back. Another cool feature is this golden footprints. When you've completely searched an area, like a pathway, those will automatically turn gold, so you know you've been down there. However, that doesn't mean you haven't missed something down there. So if there's gold down that route, it'll still turn gold. It just means you've went down all the pathways in that area. There's the other sarcophagus. And now level clear. And let's head on out. We'll do the last level, then we'll head back to town and I'll show you some of the features there. You can see this is a much shorter section. Yes, I know I'm not in the best condition. I do like that it warns you though, because sometimes I forget. Just a little late on that one. All right, let me break some of these. Oh man, you got a range. Looks like he's got an executioner's mask on. Not that he's necessarily a goat man. Wow, we're getting a lot of mana improvements, which is nice. That means we can either equip more spells or cast more spells or equip more items. Nope, no charging for you. Those guys charge, and if they hit you, they stun. Honestly, sometimes it's better to let those guys just cast because they're not very smart. They tend to charge where you used to be. So if you just move slightly, a lot of times they'll run right past you and run into the wall. And then when they do that, they're stunned and it gives you a free kill. Ooh, almost got frozen. Another unidentified card. Let's head up this way. We got 2 more undiscovered prizes. I do like that it shows you what you have left. And it tells you when a level is clear, and if it's not clear, it tells you why it's not clear. That saves you from like just running all over the place randomly. All right, good. Actually kind of got him by himself. Ooh, let's do the spin attack. I'm gonna do the fist attack. I like doing the fist attack because it can stun even bosses. Now, we're not getting lucky on our timer here. So we're gonna move to second stage. Oh, he's got a shield. Oh, it's not hang out in his melee range. Yep, got him nice and stunned. They are stunned for quite a while too. So that's why I dig that ability. And he was stunned in my fire, which is always nice. You got 4 mana points left. He didn't stun, but decent damage. You cannot, oh, you can interrupt that. Interesting. Now, you cannot always do that, by the way. You cannot always stop their transformation. Or, well, you can't stop their transformation from one phase to the next, but if they're casting a spell, you can. Oh. Thought those might go away. They do when you bash on them, I guess. Ooh, what is this? I don't think I've seen one. Oh, another boss. That's the closest I've ever seen 2 bosses. So we need to get within range. See what I'm talking about there, where if he had shot that missile and he was right here, it'd have been literally impossible to avoid it. So having a much smaller area to be able to move is kind of a bummer. Master Ghostbusters. All right, let's go ahead and use our healing potion. Are we on mana? We got 3. Oh, he's moving to the next phase. And you can tell that you can't interrupt it because there's a lock on the cast shield. So it's not random, which I like that.
Take this.
This guy was fairly easy. Ooh. That's worth a lot of money. Use money for doing things like unlocking card slots. Let's see, what else is that used for? Oh, you can also buy golden keys. Now, I don't quite understand how golden keys work. I understand how they're, at least I thought I understood how they work, because it was described that you use golden keys to go back and defeat bosses that you've already killed, and I think they're like a little bit harder, or maybe a lot harder, I'm not sure, because I haven't been able to buy one. But the problem is, I've got the money for a key, and the game has explained how the keys work. Oh god. Use my AE ability there. Up, we're out of mana. Click on, get over here and click on this. Go ahead and stun him just for the hell of it. And that's another thing that the extra attack is great for, is killing those ads. And level clear. So that is all for that session. So once you finish the session, you have an option to go down, which there's really no reason not to. You get, this tallies up all your experience. You also can unlock avatars. I don't quite know what the point of the avatars is. I mean, it's not a multiplayer. There is no multiplayer in this game, at least as of yet. They said they've considered it, and they've put the base work in there so that if enough people want it, they could potentially add it later on. But right now, as far as I can tell, there's no solid plans to put that in there. But at any rate, yeah, you do unlock avatars. They all mostly seem to be references to other games, like this next one is the Angry Bird. I saw, a hedgehog with speakers or headphones on that said something about speed. And this obviously is one of the crows from the, I think Diablo 1 cinematic. Again, there's definitely a lot of references to older games in these. You'll also get various results. I usually get all 3 of these. You didn't die once. You have swept all levels clean, and you killed every single last one of the enemies. That's kind of weird because you can't get clean sweep without killing all the enemies. Part of clearing a level is killing all the enemies. So it's bizarre that that's a thing. This also shows you the the achievements that you got for killing ghosts, things like that. So we're just going to hit OK. And this tells you stuff that you can do now. For example, if you found a bunch of unidentified cards, it'll tell you, oh, you found 4 cards to go get identified, etc. And we also have 5 level up points that we haven't spent yet. I keep forgetting to use them. I've also intentionally not using them so I can show you guys how that worked. Very simple, but you just click here. You can choose which you want to put your points in, health or mana. Health, I'm doing pretty good at, but let's put it at a nice even 40. I'm actually going to put the rest into mana because to me, mana doesn't necessarily mean being able to cast more. It means being able to wear more of the sweet, sweet armor. So let's talk to the various NPCs real quick and go over what they're good for. This one I'm not sure of. It didn't really explain this, at least not that I saw. This ability locks later on. It's called Death Rage. Whenever you get low on health, it heals you up to full, I guess, and grants immunity to damage for a short time. I haven't actually had that proc just yet, even though I've gotten close to death a couple times. I think I've only died 1 time so far. But I don't think I've had this trigger just yet. And I'm assuming that, I don't know what this does. Maybe adds another charge of Death Rage? Upgrades it? I don't know. But I have over 10,000, but I can't buy it. And when I hover over it, doesn't tell me anything. So that's a bit weird. We can go out here. Talk to the innkeeper, the barmaid, we kind of talked about her already. You can also switch NPCs by clicking on that.
Monstrosities that plague this world, goatmen must be the acme of perversion. These nightmarish creatures were banished from the worlds of animals and mankind alike.
Okay, we won't listen to all of that. But he will tell you about the various beasts that you encounter, which is pretty cool. I like when there's some backstory to some of the enemies. And you can always go back and listen to some of the other things that he said. Obviously, this guy's supposed to be very much like Cain, older, wise guy, and he identifies your items, things like that. So, and again, they were straight up front and said these games are specifically meant to be modeled very strongly after big games from the 90s, so that's not overly surprising. So this guy, the Sage, has two options. He can identify some of our unidentified cards, so let's go ahead and do that. What did we get here? I don't know what that is. Cluster. Pulls monsters surrounding a target towards it. Grants basic hit on target for each monster pulled. Interesting. We can equip it or we can just resume. We're just going to resume. Let's just see what the other cards we got are, so we can get an idea of what other items are in the game. Helmet protects you from critical hits and cursor knockback. Cursor knockback. I'm not sure if I've experienced that yet or not. Interesting. This is just a rune card for upgrades, which again we will go over here in a second. And it costs 1,000 gold, obviously, for each identify. Type of card can be used to upgrade. Okay, Death Rune. And he can also unlock a card slot, which we're not going to do right now. But it looks like we have 4 more, and each one costs more than the last. Lastly, we'll talk to the fortune teller. She can upgrade cards. And I like this upgrade mechanic. I really like when you can when you can find some items that you really like and you have given the option to upgrade them to make them even better. So you can tailor it to your play style as opposed to just, hoping you get lucky with random drops. And having, maybe something just blatantly better, you have to switch to that even though you have to change your play style. With this, you can kind of keep the same play style, even though there's not really a lot of play style, I guess, per se, as opposed maybe choosing between items versus spells or abilities. But other than that, I don't know how much variety there will be in playstyle. But again, I've only played this way, so maybe there is others. But anyway, so let's look at what it takes to upgrade. Well, let's see. I want to upgrade the Burning Axe, but as you can see below this, we need 2 of that type of card. We only have 1, the green one. The red indicates that we don't have that type of card. So how can we make that card or find that card? Well, luckily enough, this same fortune teller will allow us to fuse runes. So we have a hierarchy here of runes. We have the 2 sun cards and the 2 moon cards. 2 suns will become a life card. 2 moon cards will become a death rune card. And then we could take a life rune and a death rune and combine those into a truth rune. Now, different upgrades require different cards. As you might imagine, the highest level upgrades require these truth rune cards. Mid-tier tend to require the life and death rune cards. So, since this needs a life rune card, I want to add 2 sun runes. Oops. Nope. There we go. Now fuse them for 1,000. Normally it plays a spell effect there, it normally has an effect there, but all right. So we go back to the upgrade screen. Now you can see we can upgrade our axe. Let's double click it. Let's add 2 of those life runes. Pay the 1,000 upgrade, and you can actually see what the upgrade is going to be as well. So you can see it's going to change this. The Shattered Frozen Hearts is the same. It increases our chance to spark a fire to 40% as opposed to 30, and the fire also slows monsters. Now the one drawback is now it's going to take 2 more locked mana, but I think that's worth it, especially the slow is going to be very nice. Let's go ahead and upgrade for 1,000. The green mana cost of equipping the card will raise from 7 to 9. Yep, that's fine. I don't quite know why it even bothers to tell you that, because you can just unequip the card and then equip it later when you've got more max mana, but whatever, not a big deal. And you can see from the stars on the left-hand side that this will get upgraded 1 more time, and it looks like the last upgrade, chance to spark fire on hit 50%, which is, considering how fast and often you attack, 50% is pretty insane. Fire still slows the monsters by 20%, doubles damage from fire to monsters. Wow, that is pretty nice. And you can see it actually takes 4 of those life cards. But that's how upgrading works. The last thing she does, well, technically does 1 more. She will charge the cards. I've told you about that. But like for example here, you can see that the health potion card has 4 charges. We've got 3 in it. We could pay her 100 to put in 1 more charge. Not necessary, but she could also do things like that for the mana potion and also, I believe, town portal. But of course, those are full right now, so it doesn't matter. Last thing she does, you can sell some of your rune cards to her if you're desperately needing money and don't need upgrades. You can go that route instead. So that is all of the NPCs, and they all have an exclamation mark, a green exclamation, if there's something that they can do. So for example, that means she's got things in the magic cauldron, etc., etc. So let me look at my notes here, see if there's anything else I wanted to cover before we wrap it up here. Overall, I really like this game. It's quite fun. I found myself playing it and playing it and playing it before I finally said, okay, I have to stop and make a video on this. So I decided to actually finish the first layer and fight the first like real boss before I went ahead and recorded this video, because I also want to get some more time in, and I wanted to see if anything else new had unlocked at that point. But yeah, I've actually quite liked it so far. It feels really polished for an early access game. It runs really well. I mean, I wouldn't expect it not to, honestly, but it plays at a steady 60 FPS for me. I mean, I've got a 980, a GTX 980 Ti, so I would expect it to do so, but I haven't had any weirdness. The only time I've had a crash was one time when I alt-tabbed, but I've alt-tabbed since then, and I've had no problems. So I'm willing to write that off as just a random thing. I don't understand the, where's the golden keys? I think it's her who sells the golden keys. Yeah, it will not let me buy a golden key from her. I don't know if this is not implemented yet, but the idea with the golden key, again, is that once you've beat a boss, you can use a golden key to go back and, I guess, fight a tougher version of him and possibly kill them for good, and I'm gonna guess you get better items, things like that. I don't know why you cannot buy the golden key. Again, when I hover over it, it just, like, it doesn't do anything. And I have enough money to buy one, but I just can't. So if the developers are watching, I'd be curious to know why that is, if it's just not unlocked yet. I do know there are some things that are not in the game, like the rogue and the mage are not. The star system is also not in the game, which I don't know if that's supposed to be like a ranking thing. Like maybe it judges you based on how much damage you take, how long you take, how many times you die, etc. But that's not been implemented, though I think that is also coming pretty soon. As far as negatives, I would say one of the big ones, as I mentioned before, was being so limited in where you can move causes a lot of problems. We didn't really see any in that particular session, but when there's enemies at the end of a long path and they're shooting projectiles, sometimes literally nothing you can do to get out of the way. You're just going to take the hits. And it really limits you on how far away you can move, especially when the enemies are completely allowed to move wherever they want generally. So that can be a bit frustrating, especially if you've run into a level where you drop down, like at the beginning of the level, there's a small path and a lot of enemies in a small area right at the beginning. That can be really frustrating because you end up having to do some damage and you can back out and go back to the map and come back in. But it's just tedious to kind of go in, do some damage, maybe heal up, back out, give yourself a breather, go back in, and do that until the intro area is clear. So I'd like to see a little better setup so that when you first go into an area, there's not any enemies right there, because that can be very tedious because, again, you can't move very far. You also can easily get blocked in by enemies because you cannot just walk past them if they're on the path. So there's a lot of times where it becomes a situation where you've got to either kill the enemies or you're going to just die right there because you can't move. So, of course, the answer to that is to try not to get into those situations, but it can be difficult not to, given, again, the very limited amount of area that you can move. The enemy variety is fairly interesting. However, some of them end up just being kind of more tedious than anything. So, for example, there's a golden shield type of enemy where after you do like a 1 or 2 hearts of damage, they become invulnerable for a few seconds and they spawn more enemies. And you do another heart of damage, they become invulnerable, they spawn enemies. And it just becomes kind of, especially with my setup with the AE attacks and the sword, the ads are a non-issue. They get destroyed by my fire. It's more of me waiting for the enemy to go unimmune. So things like that can be a little tedious. It's not a big negative, but it can be a little annoying sometimes. But I like the variety in the enemies that you do fight. There's no multiplayer. That might be a big turnoff for folks, especially in a game like this where multiplayer was a big part of Diablo. To me, I don't really mind that much. I'm fine with this being a single player experience, kind of like with Torchlight 1, but I can see that being kind of a sticking point for some folks. Let's go into the options here. Last thing before I forget, to the video options, we can do separate volumes for sound effects and music, which is always appreciated. We can change the resolution. We can switch the display type, which I'm not going to do because I don't want to mess up the recording. Turn VSync on or off. And we can do a fixed screen proportions. Not sure what that actually does. Probably if you're running at a weird ratio, I don't know. But that is all your graphical options. Controls, you can rebind your keys, which a lot of people will be very pleased with that. Generally, that's a big thing that people like to have. But that is it. You can also disable the tips, but I like to leave them on just in case I forget something or what have you. But I think that's pretty much it. Just making one more quick check through. I do think they are going to add difficulty levels, or they might be in the game already. So once you've beat the game, you've beat the final boss. Even though it's in early access, they do, I guess, have all that fleshed out up until the final boss. They said they're going to make the final boss more interesting, but when you beat him, you can go back through the game on different difficulties. Or I don't know if you have to start from the beginning or if you can pick wherever you want. Again, I'm not 100% sure on that, but they will be having difficulty levels, which is cool. But yeah, I like this game a lot. Again, I really love that flexoscope thing where you get to decide, I've only got like 15 minutes to play today. So, I'm going to do, a very small dungeon. And this progress, I presume this percentage of progress is telling you how far you're making it down in your current layer. So for example, we're in the catacombs right now. Finishing this would bring us 2% closer to getting out of the catacombs and facing the boss of the catacombs. So I really like that. That's a really good idea. And again, perfect for folks who sometimes may not have a lot of time to play, but they want to play something to kill a lunch break or what have you. But anyway, that will be it for Book of Demons. Again, don't forget there is a demo on the Steam page. Make sure to check that out if you want to play it yourself. It is $19.99 on Steam. But yeah, definitely check it out. Thank you guys for watching. If you'd like to see more games like this that you may not have heard of, make sure to subscribe. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought of this game and this video. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you next time.